Good day everyone and welcome to Poser's Recap. Our story today is about the Grimm's fairy tales come to life, but it's not the usual happy ending. Late in the evening on a construction site, three men argue about their work and construction materials. Jack, Emmett, and Kyle differ on their opinions regarding wood and brick. Hence, they continue to bicker about which materials they are going to use. Suddenly, they hear a growling noise nearby, so Emmett goes to investigate but finds nothing. As the trio prepares to leave, Jack is attacked by an unseen creature and gets pulled behind a pile of pipes. Emmett rushes to help Jack, but the man is also attacked by the unknown assailant, while Kyle runs behind a pile of bricks to hide. He trembles as he hears the terrified screams echo around him, and when it goes silent, he peers out to see the corpses of his companions. He tries to leave, but a low growling alerts him and he screams as he gets attacked. On the road, two brothers named Sammy and Dean argue about Dean's impending demise, due to a deal he made with a crossroads demon. They are experts on investigating unexplained and supernatural occurrences, and Dean deflects the argument by asking Sammy for details of the case at the construction site. Sammy suspects that it might be a werewolf who attacked the three guys, and Dean agrees. Sometime later, the pair visits Kyle in the hospital at Maple Springs, who has survived the attack that finishes Jack and Emmett. Posing as a country sheriff's detective, Kyle reveals that the deceased were his brothers and he describes an ordinary man as the culprit, not a werewolf as the two of them initially suspected. Kyle then assumes that one of them is the sketch artist that he has been told to expect, and Dean drops Sammy in it. He adds that he notices a tattoo on the assailant's arm, which is a coyote chasing a Roadrunner cartoon. When the interview concludes, Kyle asks to see Sammy's sketch, which is a poor stickman-like drawing. As the pair leaves, Dean mercilessly teases his embarrassed brother. Somewhere else, a couple named Julie and Ken get lost deep into the woods, and come upon a house in the middle of nowhere. An old woman greets them outside and offers to help them find their way into the nearest town. Ken starts eyeing the newly baked pie, and when the seemingly sweet old lady notices him, she offers to share the pie with them. Ken quickly accepts the offer since he's been feeling hungry, even when Julie tries to urge him to head back into town. After they finish eating, the couple suddenly experiences extreme pain in their stomach and falls to the ground. Turns out that the old lady put something in the pie, and proceed to attack them with a knife. She fatally injured Ken, and as Julie begs her to stop, she sees a girl standing by the window watching the events play out. Julie survives the attack and gets a visit from Sammy and Dean at the hospital. She explains that she is able to escape because she didn't eat as much as Ken did, and recounts everything that transpires in the dreadful event. When asked if she remembers anything else, Julie adds the odd presence of the young girl that she saw outside the window, who just disappeared as if she vanished into thin air. She then begs the brother to look for her, as it is terrible to know that a young girl had witnessed a horrific event. Later, the brother decides to take a visit to the old lady's house, and finds a high reading on their ghost detector device inside. It indicates the presence of spirit, and Sammy speculates that the cases seem to resemble fairy tales. He mentions some of the Brother Grimm story, including the three brothers as the three little pigs, and the woman and her boyfriend as Hansel and Gretel. He thinks that maybe, a spirit is controlling the people involved in the murders, making the fairy tales come to life. Dean is skeptical to believe his brother's theory and proposes that first, they start looking for more clues. They check for records of any death of a young girl in the past, and even look for any missing persons report resembling a pale young girl with black hair without any success. While heading back to their car, they see a huge frog along the way and think of the fairy tale of the Frog Prince. Dean remarks that he's not kissing any frog to save anyone no matter who it is when suddenly, they spot a pumpkin and a mouse outside a house, and this time, they remember Cinderella. The pair proceed to check inside the house, and find a young woman whose stepmother has suddenly chained and beaten her. While Sammy is trying to pick the lock on the handcuffs on the young woman's hand, Dean spots the specter of a young girl, which is the same girl that Julie saw at the cottage. He tries to follow her and talk to the girl, but she disappears out of thin air and leaves a red apple behind. As they head back to their car, Sam connects this to Snow White, whose stepmother poisoned her with the red side of an apple. With no other clues to follow, the brothers return to the hospital to inquire about the coma children in their care. One of the nurses tells them that Dr. Garrison has a daughter named Callie, who has been in a coma since she was 8 years old. The two quickly try to find the doctor and see him reading fairy tales to a sleeping young woman, who looks exactly like an older version of the spirit Dean has saw earlier. He's telling her the story of Little Red Riding Hood, where the big bad wolf is about to attack an old woman. At the same moment, an old lady somewhere is being assaulted by a man with a tattoo on his arm, while the little girl watches from a distance. Sammy and Dean interrupt the doctor's story and learn that Callie swallowed bleach which led to her condition. And the doctor adds that Grimm's fairy tales were his daughter's favorite in the past. Dean asks if the doctor's wife is Callie's stepmother, and when he said yes, it confirms their theory that Callie is bringing fairy tales to life. When the doctor leaves, they talk about their speculation that Callie's own stepmother poisoned her, so her spirit has become increasingly enraged because nobody knows the truth about what she did. She then starts acting out fairy tales in an attempt to get attention, and possibly to relay a message to her father. A moment later, another victim is brought to the hospital, the old woman who gets assaulted earlier in her car. The brothers learn that she has a granddaughter, and fearing another attack, the pair splits to cover more ground. Dean is about to head to the granddaughter's address to stop the big bad wolf according to him, while Sammy gets the task of explaining the situation to Dr. Garrison. Somewhere else, the granddaughter gets kidnapped at school when she gets in the car that she thought was owned by her grandmother. But instead of the old lady, it is the man with the tattoo inside the car who is acting as the big bad wolf. When Sammy tries to explain that Callie has been poisoned, the doctor initially rejects his suspicion and dismisses him. But Sammy insists and further elaborates that they had seen her ghost, and the doctor eventually admits his daughter's spirit has also appeared to him. When Dean reaches the old woman's home, he finds a young girl wearing a red hoodie being held inside the house. But when he's about to save her, the man with a tattoo jumps him. Back at the hospital, Sammy tells the doctor that Callie appears to him because she wants to talk to her father, and Dr. Garrison is distraught by Sammy's story that his wife may have poisoned his daughter. He figures that the brothers are not cops, which Sammy confirms, who further explains that Callie has been acting up by killing people through fairy tale stories. So he urges the doctor to listen to what she is trying to convey. The doctor tries to talk to his daughter in a coma, and when the young Callie appears and confirms Sammy's suspicion of his wife, he starts to accept the truth. At the same moment, Dean is still fighting with the man and is about to get overpowered by him. Dr. Garrison tells Callie that she needs to stop killing people, as it is time to let go and rest her soul. Suddenly, the life support machine beeps faster, indicating that the older Callie in a coma dies, and the spirit finally disappears to rest. When Dean is about to stab the man, he too finally returns to his normal self, confused as to where he is and what has happened. Later, Sam and Dean say farewell to Dr. Garrison, who tells them that he regrets that he couldn't let Callie go earlier before she starts acting up and killing people. While leaving, Dean tells Sammy that it is something that Sam needs to do, and the younger brother asks him if that is what he really wants him to do. Later at night, Sammy sneaks out of the motel room and summons the Crossroads demon. But she just taunts him, suggesting part of him will be relieved when his brother dies. Sammy threatens her with the Colt, but she explains that finishing her won't break Dean's deal, as the contract is held by a demon more powerful than her. The young man shoots her anyway, and the demon perishes along with the young woman it was possessing. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. You can also hit the notification bell and like the video to help the channel out. Thank you.